a castle, you were like, F that noise. And you went into a cave. It was freezing. You're like, F this noise, and went into the castle and just kind of called it there. So last session, you were trying to spend time resting in the castle, long rest, if you will. And it got interrupted by the fact that you felt that creeping doom sort of feeling. You felt that cold coming and approaching you. So you got a short rest at best. Got up and decided, screw it. Let's try to find a way out of here. Let's try to see if there's something in the castle and just take care of it, whatever the case may be. After having searched around for a little while, you saw another sailor had survived. A couple of you guys were kind of concerned about it. Thonk, of course, didn't give two flying. And so you eventually did go to assist him, found out he was gone, just disappeared, I think, looking through another window. Couldn't find him for a while. Eventually went searching for him. Rye, like, really put it in. Like, I'm really going to save this dude. You guys go searching for him. You find him. He's a genuinely happy, nice guy. You bring him back to the group. Well, it turns out he's genuinely happy and nice because he's been charmed by some sort of evil entity. The evil entity is trying to kill Rye. For one reason or another. Immediately, it's this one guy trying to plot his own way. He passes it on to Addo. Addo then tries to directly slaughter poor Rye, who drops him like a sack of potatoes. And then we eventually lead to Grommen getting charmed as well by the group trying to, like, attack this thing and kill it. Grommen gets charmed as well. Everybody's running away. Two of you, this is Thonk and Rye.
Yeah.
Find a portal to leave the castle. It's in the basement. Rye is being pulled to the basement by these whispers in her ear. Pulled to the basement. You find the portal. You make your way through the portal. Holy shit, it's cold out here. Thonk's topless and not very comfortable. Rye is snuggled up in these heavy winter robes that she coincidentally just happened to have on her. And then shortly afterwards, through his own just kind of like sheer force of will, Otto was able to break the spell that's over his mind and grab Grommen and trick Grommen into going through the portal with him as well, and kind of like retracing his steps and finding it. Now, with Thonk and Rye all the way down at a town that they found out was the town of Bryn Shander. They just got into it and finally they got a place to spend the night. We have Grommen and Otto up on the cliff, having just come through the portal. Grommen still under this enchantment, it seems. Addo with his equipment, sure, but just in his skivvies, standing in the snow, which is horribly uncomfortable at nighttime with cold winds whipping by as they hear snoring down below of the giants and the very large human that you guys happen to see. So we can actually pick it up with our attentions on Grommen and Addo first and what it is that they are seeing down below. So as I said, when they stepped out of the portal, into a mountainous area where they were hidden behind a couple of rocks, and they could hear the snoring over yonder, kind of looking down. Addo, even though he doesn't have the best vision at night, it's nighttime, there's snow on the grounds, the moon is lit, there's not many clouds. He can see well enough that he can see these shapes and the massacre that was down below. So there they are at the top of the cliff, Grommen having just come through. You guys feel free to take it away. Grommen, I think, is a little taken aback by stepping through the portal.
Yeah, so I just like get through and I'm like looking around.
Looking around, what I said before was every once in a while, just sporadically, it'll be a gust of just freezing air comes blowing by, and poor little Addo feels that way more than Grommen does, who grew up in a cold mountainous region. So, and Grommen is fully dressed, though not prepared for this kind of weather, is fully dressed, and maybe teeth will chatter, but not quite just yet.
I shimmy up to Grommen's leg and kind of huddle right by him. Glad you made it through.
Grommen says, "Where are we at?"
Good question. I'm going to go peer over the cliff and kind of analyze the situation.
Yes, like he still seems like he's under the spell. He's like still huge grin on his face, like just like, oh.
Looks like we have some big company.
Yeah. One of the things that Otto had done as soon as Grommen stepped through the portal was kind of like a shh to make sure that Grommen wasn't like, oh. So Grommen is aware to be, at least to some degree, quiet.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I guess I'm gonna look to see what company he's talking about.
And Gromman, peeking over the ledge, can see exactly what I was describing beforehand, and you guys can, of course, see it on your map right there. The carnage that is beneath you. And the large creatures are sleeping there. They're snoring there.
I take a minute. I look back up at Gromman. I think we should avoid them.
Grumman's like smiling and looking down at them, and he's like, but everyone must come with us.
But not the ones that want to kill us.
How you know they want to kill us?
Well, I'm we can worry about it later. We should probably go along the wall and we can talk to them later.
Okay. And he just smiles and walks along the wall.
So to give direction to where it is that you guys are going, could both of you please roll me a perception check? And actually, Otto, I will allow to roll twice because he was out there for a while, kind of taking in his surroundings. And that didn't help you very much with a 9.
Is it dark? Is it dark out?
It is dark out, but that doesn't matter. We're talking about something else anyways, off in the distance. So Gromman, it is dark. It is, but you do have the snow and the stars and everything that does allow you to see significantly further. One of the things that you do see way off in the distance is little tidbits of light here and there that lead you to believe that there's probably a city or a town or something down below. A town below where everyone lives.
Okay. Grauman's going to mention this to Addo and kind of point and be really excited about it.
Oh. Well, we should probably get there, right?
Grauman's going to scoop you up and then like start walking that way because he knows you're going to be slow if he just waits for you to walk.
Wait. We need to listen. It's very important that we don't wake them up. Okay?
Okay.
And we'll come back and get them later, right? Because we're going to get everyone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to come back here later, but they can't wake up. So let's be quiet.
Okay. Big guy sleep. We go quiet. And he picks you back up again and he starts walking.
Mm-hmm. The way that you guys are going to have to go, unless you choose to find some like crazy roundabout way in this mountain area, because this is actually like a pass and a more easily traversed place. The way that you're going to have to go is through where they are, mind you, currently sleeping, again, unless you choose to go around. Now, there are other ways for you to try to get by this area and potentially even ways to get through here a lot quicker. However, the way I'm referring to in particular, Otto can do, but it would be a little loud.
Dare I inquire further?
You have a magical loot, sir.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do have a magical loot.
Do you
have like a song of invisibility or something?
That is one of the things that is offered, yes. Do you remember what you were going to use during the cliff area?
I think we're gonna avoid being loud, as previously mentioned.
Sure, absolutely. All right, just to make sure that it's all taken care of, do you have a list of what spells are in that loot or no?
I think there's 4 total, right?
7 total actually.
Oh.
What I'm gonna post them for funsies in the chat. Bam.
Good.
So you can see all of them right there. Actually, everybody can see them all right there.
Sorry.
Right. So anyway, so now Gromman is holding Addo, and Gromman is going to try to sneak his way past them. So Gromman, could you please roll me your best check in the game? Stealth. I really don't think it's that bad, though. I think you still have a +2 or something, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, it's meh. So give me 1 second. With a stealth of, now mind you, they are sleeping. So as you guys are sneaking along and you kind of make your way down by the carnage, you're making your way through. Gromit is, of course, able to more easily see what's going around and kind of like picking his way through the area. At some point in time, he does accidentally step on a corpse, or at least a part of a corpse that he didn't see from like intestines that had spilled out of a person ripped in half. And it's like, ugh, and kind of like tries to shake the gut, like the guts out from off of his boot or whatever, and ends up accidentally kicking a rock and knocking some rocks or whatever, and you hear the one of the large forms and like and just kind of like picking its head up and almost like half asleep, blinking, trying to look around. Gromit, do you want to try to roll me another stealth check to try to avoid sight for the moment?
Can I
Okay.
provide bardic inspiration to this?
That requires a verbal component, which means that you have to be loud.
Okay.
Perfect. Gromit deftly ducks out of sight, whether it be behind a dead horse or the carriage or whatever the case it may be. Definitely ducks out of sight. After like a minute or so passes of you guys practically holding your breath and poor Addo shivering, holding on to every bit of warmth he can steal from Gromit's, perfectly shaped body.
I think I'm buried in his backpack at this point, wrapped around all his shit.
You guys are eventually he kind of like falls back asleep, and Gromit's able to finish making his way kind of around the cliff. Maggie, could you give me one more stealth check as you're going out of the tail ends, like past the carnage and everything, just to make sure you get by, no problems.
Oh
And
no.
look at that. As you guys are gonna getting by free, and Gromit's like, oh, kind of away free, not necessarily saying it, but thinking it. Starts moving a bit more carelessly, looking back and checking at Otto and making sure they are still asleep. In doing so, accidentally kicks like another rock that was hidden underneath snow. It skips across the pass and smacks into a wall, dropping a couple more rocks or whatever. And once again, one of the heads kind of picks up, and this time less asleep. He's like, huh? Now, neither one of you speak giant, do you? I don't believe so. Yeah. So it kind of picks up his head, and he's kind of like, strangely, however, Gromit kind of understands what he says, and he knows that the one of the words said was a cuss, another one of the words said was who. But the other handful of words Gromit didn't understand. But otherwise, kind of like they are much more aware. So at this point, you guys can once again either choose to hide, just kind of hop skip out of there, or what do you want to do? Like either book it or like try to hide or whatever.
I think that I'll just, because where am I at in comparison to them at this point? Did I make it
Absolutely.
across? Like,
You actually, I'll move your minis right here. You're kind of like down here already, so you made it past.
all right, I guess we're gonna like try to hide back here then, and kind of dip.
Absolutely. So you can roll me one more stealth check, Maggie, and this will probably be the last one. Okay, that's good enough. You were able to go and duck out of the way, hiding around the corner to that area that you had specified. And after like another 2 or 3 minutes of just standing there and being as quiet as possible, eventually he kind of gets up and like looks around for a bit, realizes somebody else is in a spot, and kind of like hits him twice like really hard, and they kind of like rumble and roll over. Eventually he like lies down in the warmer spot on the ground, and then the two of you were able to kind of like get out of there and start making your way. Now, making your way all the way to that town is a long and arduous journey. As I was saying to the other two before, it's something that's a very far distance. It's about a mile or two, whatever it is. It is a very treacherous path with like, it's mountainous, always climbing up, always climbing down. There's fresh snow on the ground, which is ridiculous because it's only like very early fall being like September. You know what I mean? On our calendar. Eventually, you guys are able to make your way there, but the whole way is freezing for poor little Otto, despite being hidden inside the backpack and everything. Otto, can you roll for me a Constitution save?
Uh-huh.
And you actually roll very well. So while your teeth are chattering, you can't stop, you're moving, you're shivering, and your skin is getting a little blue or whatever. You don't have to deal with any frostbite or anything like that. You're just very, very cold, and probably one step down on the fatigue scale. Okay. Eventually, you guys are going to make your way to the city itself as the sun's starting to come up. So the doors are still locked at this point when you come by the north gates. So we're going to pull the attention back over to the other two. Now, Sally, could you remind me? I remember counting out the coin and paying off the guards 110 gold. Whoop, I mean 55 gold, to let you guys into the city. But did we narrate where you went after that point? Did you actually find like a place to spend the night, or?
I don't think we specified.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So,
You're
Sam,
Sam, you're muted.
yeah, I see.
I was
Bunny
gonna
ears.
say, I didn't think we specified it. We just kind of found a tavern.
Okay.
Yeah,
yep,
that's what I
exactly.
figured. Yeah.
So you found the tavern, and went to a place. You don't know this city very well, so you probably went to a not so crappy one, just so you feel a little bit safer with, you don't know who's around you or what they are. One of the things that you guys notice is that all around you, everybody's speaking a different language than you guys really know. So luckily, the guard that you came across, when you were able to speak to him, you're speaking to him through, as I had specified beforehand, common, which is like a smattering of a bunch of different languages that allow you to kind of like get by.
Yeah.
But everybody around you, their native tongue is common. Every once in a great while, you might hear like a sentence in your native tongue, and you're like, "Oh, I know that over there." Or you might walk by a couple of orcs that are speaking Orcish, so Thunk is able to understand that. But overall, generally speaking, it's all what is it, German to you? So unless you speak German, in which case it's something else. And so you guys make your way to the tavern. You get a comfortable spot. Spend a little extra coin to get it. Spend the night. I don't think there was anything you cared to do in the overnight. The next morning, you guys wake up. I imagine it's a very quick convening of, we have to find out what's going on with the other two. Now, luckily for you, you do happen to have those magical stones. Maybe you had forgotten about them, but I believe it was Rye and Addo that had each grabbed a sending stone before. Do you recall that from your initial hoard?
Mm-hmm.
Is that when I stole the sword?
It was after you stole the sword, when Thonk was trying to kill an innocent man.
In the chests, yeah.
Oh,
Thunk
right,
doesn't
yeah.
kill innocent people.
Mhm.
So with the sending stones,
When does he
it's-
not kill innocent people?
Every time he kills somebody.
Of course. Oh, of course. Yeah. So with the sending stones, it actually allows you to communicate back and forth between you guys.
But as far as we know, Otto
Yeah,
is still under
as far as
spell.
we know, Addo is still fucking gaga.
That's true, as far as you know. That it certainly is true. However, that doesn't mean that he can't.
Yeah, Otto can do it, but I don't know if Rye would initiate.
Fair enough.
In Thonk's mind, essentially, like, Otto and Grommen are, like, safe where they are, and we can go back for them at some point.
You left him at daycare.
Yes.
Wow.
There was really nothing on that island that was an immediate threat outside of the thing that has them enslaved.
Mm.
I just can't remember, and I can't do it with a quick Google search with the distances for those things. But that's okay. So Otto.
Sending stones?
Yeah. Is it a quick Google search? I have a DMG right here. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry about that.
Sending stones are just teleporters.
And this
Message.
is why I always.
It's like a message system.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like walkie-talkies back and forth. I just can't.
You can send a message back and forth. It's kind of like the message whisperer.
Player's Handbook, page 255.
It's also DMG 199.
There you go.
Wondrous item, uncommon, sending stones come in pairs, each with smooth stone carved, blah, blah, blah. While you can use the cast sending from it. The target is the bearer of the stone. If no other creature, once sending goes through the stones, they can't be used again until dawn. So sending is, if I remember correctly, 25 words or less. Only one person with stones can go to the other person with stone. You immediately know it came from the person that had the other stone, who that person is, and you can respond 25 words or less.
Yep.
So if Otto chooses to use that, you're good to go. And because it's a spell sending and not like Whispering Wind or something like that, it has no range. I'm not positive for this edition, but sometimes you can even cross planes as well. So, so if Otto chooses to use that, but you guys are outside the gates in the morning as the sun's coming up around when they're getting out of bed and just kind of like realizing, we have to find out what's up with those two. Well, maybe Thonk's not thinking that. Maybe he's thinking, okay, trim the fat. Let's keep going.
Thonk has no reason why, like, he has no idea why he's here, outside of the fact that we were fighting a losing battle.
Mhm.
So, As far as he's concerned, Rye is point man in this particular situation.
Okay. Then what I'll do is, as you guys are approaching the gates, does Otto think to use these stones? Is this or does he not come up with that because his brain is a little?
No, I think he's a little too focused on not freezing to death.
Perfect. Then them two are not currently thinking of you, or are you, Sam? Are you
No.
thinking about them at the moment? No. Okay, perfect. So Sam actually is having one of those pulls that he was having beforehand. He has this like urge to go explore throughout the city. Like there's something in the city that he's kind of being pulled to find.
And the thing is, Rye can read street signs and store signs as well.
Absolutely, Rye can read everything. Perfect.
Although she can't really understand anyone, she can read everything.
Mhm. It certainly comes in handy when trying to find any form of shop or anything that you want, or like, let's say, for instance, you went up to an innkeep and they're like, and you're like, oh, how much is a room? And they're like, it's 7 silver. And you're like, it's posted right there, 3. It says it right there. So, so you're kind of getting pulled, like you're being drawn somewhere. Do you try to like bring Thonk with you, or do you kind of want to get up early in the morning and just kind of head that way yourself? I keep saying kind of.
I think this is like almost during Thonk's morning prayer that Rye kind of like decides to take a stroll.
Mm-hmm.
He's having trouble sleeping for some reason, and heads out to the streets. Yeah, and she kind of feels that familiar pull that she felt from the spyglass.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So she follows this pole, just kind of like it's like a thin strand pulling her along. So it's not like there's this heavy thing that's forcing her to go to this location. It's not like with the spyglass where it was like, you need to do this now.
Yeah, she's like she's wandering carelessly.
Mm-hmm. Yep, but it is still drawing her there, and she can feel it. She's choosing to kind of go along with it. And as she's making her way along and throughout the city, she's able to move through relatively easily. As a matter of fact, it's one of those things where after a while of traveling through it, she mindlessly realizes, I have no idea where the hell I am in this continent, in this world. I don't know where I am. But despite that fact, every city seems to have a similar flow to it. It may take you a day or two to understand that flow completely, but you can pretty easily move your way through every city, which is kind of convenient. So you're kind of like learning the flows of this city as you're making your way through it. Right. Eventually, you feel that pull bringing you not around or down streets or around buildings or whatever, but to a building itself. More importantly, it's to a building that you can look overhead and you can actually see that it says, mayor. Above the archway of this decently crafted building. Now, when I say decently crafted, back where you came from, a lot of the buildings, aside from, Showtown, a lot of the buildings were made with fine craftsmanship, stonework, blah, blah, blah. Here, not so much. They're made out of wood. This just happens to be a particularly sturdy wood building that has like some metal or some stone, like reinforcements here and there, with some style to it, but mostly it's functional.
Okay.
So anyways, you're being pulled to this building.
Cool. Yeah, right. I mean, right, like she's throwing that hood up. She doesn't want to really be inconspicuous. Does it look like it's open?
It is, by the time you get here, because you're kind of like moseying your way as opposed to like beelining it, it's a little bit later in the morning, so it does seem as though there's activity going on inside there.
Cool. Yeah, she's kind of about to walk past, and then she kind of double takes and looks around and decides she's gonna poke her head in and see what's inside.
Absolutely. So as you go to do that, you kind of walk up, and it says on a plaque on the door, it says Honorable Mayor Cassius, and it has like a beginning year. That's kind of like worn and old because the whole plaque itself is kind of worn and old. It actually has like marks, like swords and axe marks and whatnot. Like this building has seen battle, and this in particular plaque has never been switched out. But definitely for a long time, maybe 30 years, it looks like it might be. So this person has clearly held this position for a long while, and the Honorable Mayor by the name of Cassius. So you tap on the door, and after a little bit, eventually an older gentleman. He's well built. He's well built, dark hair. Looks like he's probably in his late 50s or so. comes walking up to the door, mid to late 50s, walks up to the door, doesn't have like a hunchback, doesn't look like he's missing all of his teeth or anything like that. He seems pretty well taken care of. He opens the door and he looks you up and down. You said your hood is on you, over your head or pulled back?
Yeah, over my head.
He looks you up and down and is like, young lady?
Rise. This guy opens the door and Rye, like, she's questioning. She's like, why the fuck did I knock on this door? Like, I have no reason to speak to this guy. And so there's this awkward pause where she's looking at him, but she just doesn't speak. And she's like busy questioning herself internally.
He's like, so after he says that, and he said it like, sorry, he actually said something in a language you didn't understand. My apologies. He then switches over to common, and he's like, what tongue you speak? Like that kind of, and the language from over there, it's like Elzita, or I actually can't remember off the top of my head. Doesn't really matter. But oh, you Damaran. That's what you speak. You speak Damaran.
Okay. So we don't speak common.
You have common as a tongue. Like I said, it's a basic language you can get things by with, and you're certainly welcome to use it.
Right. Cool.
He speaks a language called Chondathan. That's what he was using before. Your native tongue is Damaran, but please. So you have this awkward moment, and
yeah, right. She kind of like she just suggests two languages. She suggests like the Shu language and Damaran.
Oh, so when you go through those, you say like the Shao, and he's like, but when you say Damaran, he actually will start speaking to you in that, and his accent is terrible, but he is at least conversationally capable of speaking in that language, and he's like, how can I help you?
Right, kind of on the spot. She's like, why did I knock on the door? I gotta come up with something, and she just smiles and she's like, I was trying to get some information about the town. I'm kind of new. I thought this would be a good place.
Kind of leans out the door and looks to either side, like, comes back in. He's like, I certainly know this town very well. My time is usually spent doing other things. What were you trying to find out? It's getting cold out there. Would you at least come in the door so I may keep the heat?
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And so you come in and he shuts the door behind you. Now, mind you, he says keep the heat. As to whether or not it's warmer inside is arguable. Yeah. It's still pretty cold in there, but he shuts the door behind you. At least the wind stops, and he kind of like turns back over and gestures to where the like a few cloaks or whatever are hung on like a rack, and you can see just immediately walking in the building and past there. This doesn't look to be necessarily a home. It looks like it probably is maybe like an office or a like a government facility based off like the largeness, the wideness of the hallways, the architecture of it. Again, not grandiose, very functional, but it doesn't feel like a home. He gestures to a rack that has some coats on it. Like, may I take yours?
Rai kind of hesitates. She hasn't seen a tiefling in this town, and she's a fortunate tiefling in the sense that she kind of like is possibly human for the most part. But yeah, and the tail, which she tries to hide. But she thankfully declines and like clings to her robe. She's like, it's a bit chilly. I'll keep it if that's all right.
If you're worried about what you are, you're not the first one I've seen in this place.
Regardless.
Called out.
It's a bit chilly. I think I'll keep it. Thank you, though.
Take your clothes off.
It's too early for that brown chicken and brown cow. Oh, sorry.
I don't recognize you with your clothes on.
Oh God, no. Anyway, sorry, old joke. So you guys, so he's just like, kind of like gestures, like almost apologetically, like sorry to imply, with his hands. And then he gestures for you to walk in a little bit further. One of the doorways immediately to your side leads to like a comfortable looking room where there's a fireplace there, no logs on the fire, and a table where you guys can kind of sit around it, almost like an ante room where the visitors can get comfortable. So he gestures there for you to go in and take a seat. And as you walk into the building, I assume following him, yes?
Yeah, like Rai's kind of following him slowly. She's kind of like wondering why she's been pulled to this building. She's kind of like taking in all the surroundings.
So as you're walking in with him and following him, and you start to turn left to go into that doorway, you kind of feel this pull, not to the left, but actually to the right, like you're supposed to be somewhere behind you. Again, this isn't like a huge pull; it's like a gentle tugging, but you do feel it going the other direction.
Okay. Do I looks to the right? Do I see anything?
It looks like another little room where some stuff is stored inside there. Not like coats or whatever. It's another little room where there's like some furniture put in there, some books put up, like a bit of a mini library, bit of a mini sitting room. And then there's like another little hallway that comes off of it, like around a corner, so you can't see down that hallway at the moment.
Cool. Ray just kind of like, she throws the glance and she knows that she has to go in there, but she continues left and follows him into the room.
Sure. So he goes over and he pulls a chair out for you. So he literally just kind of like as he walks by one chair, he pulls it out and then kind of like angles it towards you, then makes his way over and just sits down in a different chair for you to, seat yourself, of course. It seems like he's trying to be courteous to some degree. And he just sits down and waits for you to sit.
Yeah, Ray just accepts and sits graciously.
So again, generally busy. What can I help you with?
Where am I?
I'm. You're at my. This is the mayor's.
No. I
not
get
realize?
that, but hypothetically speaking, if there was a map, where am I? Do you have a map?
Yeah, I have several maps. Hold on. I have several maps. You're in Bryn Shander. Do you know where that is? Do you know where things
Again,
are?
just if you could point to a map, where am I?
Okay. So he goes over and he pulls out a map and brings it over and rolls it out and puts it on the table. And this map is, to the south of the map, there's like a whole mountainous region. To the north of the map, there's a whole bunch of ocean. It's like you can see there's like looks like white islands or something like that in the ocean. There's a whole bunch of there's one mountain that's nearby. That mountain is marked off. There's a name on it. There's a couple of towns. There's a few towns away from here. But the general region you're in is something called 10 Towns. It's something called 10 Towns, and specifically he points at the map to a city, and next to it says Bryn Shander. The mountain nearby that I had mentioned is called Kelvin's Cairn. So Kelvin's Cairn is the one that's nearby, the one that you kind of like walked down and away from to get to Bryn Shander. But there's a huge mountain range to the south of you that's called the Spine of the World. And you have no clue where the hell that is. The map doesn't extend beyond that. You have no clue anywhere near any of it.
So I have no idea where I am in relation to where we were before.
Correct. And I assume that's kind of plain on your face.
Yeah. Ray's kind of got this like, oh boy, look on her face.
You seem to be... Are you familiar with Icewind Dale?
Am I?
No. Very no.
Ray's just got like a nothing look.
How did you get here, young lady?
Where was the port we sailed from?
You sailed out of Thesk and heading towards Cormyr. Never got there because you were shipwrecked.
Yeah.
At a castle on an island somewhere, and now you're in Icewind Dale.
So Ray kind of looks at him and she's like,
What would you say if I told you I left on a boat from Thesk 2 days ago?
Thesk. Well, you actually left from Thesk. It was like 2 weeks ago, but that doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah,
That's fine. Yeah.
I was on a boat.
He
today.
says 2 days ago.
Yeah, on a boat 2 days ago works. He's like, Thesk.
Do you have a bigger map? A more encompassing map?
Like a map of all of Farron?
Yes, exactly like that.
It is old. I might. Give me a moment. And so he kind of gets up and he goes over and he goes shuffling through his thing and kind of grabs a scroll, and he's in the other room, the one that you're being pulled to before, and he pulls it open and he kind of looks at it and scrolls it shut, goes over, and he's in there for maybe like 10 or 15 minutes in that room that you were in. Now, do you just wait in this room, kind of like?
I think after like 10 minutes or so, Rai kind of like whimsically like inches into the room and kind of like sneaks up behind him.
Sure. So as you walk into that room, once again, you felt that pull going in there the whole time anyways. As you walk into the room, one of the things that you notice is while you're in here, you actually feel that pull once again pulling from behind you, not like necessarily where he is, but down that short hallway where there is a closed door. Now, it's not like a particularly heavy door or anything like that, but it is a closed door. And because the door is like, like a typical door, it has two panels, upper and lower, like squares. So the upper panel has like a bit of a gold glimmer to it, like a gold filigree. You can't quite see what it is from this distance. Maybe you can get closer and inspect it, whatever. But you're kind of being pulled to that door over there. Anyways, so you do come up behind him and eventually kind of notices like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to find a map as big as you are asking. I'm sure I have one here somewhere. Oh. On a boat, and they're kind of looking. Do you do anything else while you're waiting, or do you just wait until he's done?
I'm tempted to like approach this door.
Sure.
So while he's waiting, I think Rai's kind of just musing about the room. She's like,
Take your time, it's fine.
and she starts like moseying towards the door.
If you're trying to do this as discreet as possible, mind you, he's being distracted anyways. Would you like to roll me a deception check just to be discreet for me, please?
Sure.
Thanks. Ooh, beautiful. So you just
21.
kind of like, I dropped my pencil, and you like go over there, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
So you make your way over, and one of the things that you notice on the door is, again, it's written in a language you don't understand. But looking at it and again, it translates for you. What you say is, my apologies. It says, "Many blessings of Lady Luck." And Lady Luck is Timora. It's the goddess of good fortune. And you can actually see like a little symbol coin at the bottom of where it says that. And once again, you're being kind of like drawn to this door and through it. Looking at the door, just a quick investigation because, you're over there and you're good at this sort of stuff. It doesn't look locked. It doesn't even look like it has a locking mechanism or anything like that on it.
Okay. Right. She kind of like feels the filigree on the door.
Mm-hmm. It's actually nice craftsmanship.
She's-
Clearly, this person has some sort of respect for Lady Timora.
Yeah, and then she just sort of like puts a little bit of weight on the door to see if it will give.
Mm-hmm. It does have a knob, but that's not a big deal. You can turn it and you can push the door open, and it opens no problem.
Cool. All right, I want to slip inside the room.
Sure. If you're going to try to get in there without him noticing, roll me a stealth check, please. Okay, so you go to slip inside the door, and you go in there, and immediately when you walk in, you look around, and there's already sconces with fire, so it's lit because there's no windows inside this room. It is interior to the building, so there are fires that are lit, but strangely no smoke. To keep this place very well lit, you do see that there's a small shrine inside this place with a small praying area in front of it. It is a very small shrine, so the whole room itself is probably like 49 square feet. So 7 by 7 feet. So it's a very small room with a small praying area where maybe at most 3 people can pray. You see again a shrine has like a coin, a golden coin that has Timora's symbol on it. Sitting at the top of the shrine, there's a small area where you can put stuff into the shrine or whatever the case may be. And all of a sudden you get this strange urge. Now that you're inside here and you see all this stuff, as you open the door and you kind of slipped in, you immediately heard him behind you saying, "Hey, what are you doing over there?" You get this urge to kind of reach in your bag and grab something.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Immediately just dives her hand in. She's like looking around.
She pulls out, oh, it's still there, that hunk of gold that she's had this whole time.
The
And
nog!
you get this urge to grab this hunk of gold and open up the cabinet inside the shrine and put it in the cabinet and slam it shut. And you're just like, you feel as though you've done something right, but your task isn't quite complete. And as that happens, like as you quickly shut it, he kind of like bent over and knelt down in front of the thing, trying to get this thing inside there. You slam it shut. He opens up the door and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing in?" Oh, I'm sorry. Do you worship
Timora.
Yeah, so Timora as well, the lady who smiles as well?
Right. Like takes this as an opportunity to get out of the situation and just nods.
Oh, well, if that's the case, then you know what? I have not yet done my morning prayers. You actually interrupted me before I did so. Before we continue looking for the map, do you mind if I join you in your prayer?
Oh, please. I'll follow you.
And so he actually comes over and he'll like kneel down next to you in front of the shrine, and he kind of starts going into his prayer. Now, once again, he's speaking in a language that you just don't understand, mumbling through his prayers. Do you choose to pray aloud as well, or do you choose to be silent?
Right, with kind of one eye open, watching him, just chooses to be silent.
Yeah. We've all seen them at church before. We know what you're talking about. So you gotta sit there and let him go about his praying or whatever. And after he's done praying, it takes like a solid 15 minutes or so. And you're kind of thinking, oh man, so much time has passed since I left the tavern this morning. After he's finished his praying, he kind of gets up and he places his hand on your shoulder and he's like, I'm glad to hear that lady, that our smiling lady smiles on you as well. And then he kind of like gives you a pat on the shoulder, like to follow him back into the other room. And without waiting for you or anything, he goes back into the other room to keep looking for the maps. He does leave the room. He doesn't look back or anything. And you do get the urge to pull that stone back out again.
Right. Yeah. As she hears the door creak behind her and lets out like a sigh of relief. And then she stands up and kind of like leans over to the cabinet and grabs the lump.
Okay. The door is open this time, so roll me a sleight of hand to make sure he doesn't notice you reaching in. Okay, perfect. A solid 15 is awesome.
Jesus, plus 9. That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. It's because of the gloves that he has.
I know. It's just I see that every time. It's just like plus fucking 9. Good God.
Yeah. It's like 3.5. You're like, I'm level 1. Of course I have a plus 32. This ain't broken. So you reach in, you grab the thing, quickly throw it in your pack, which you hate yourself for doing, and then you follow him into the other room. A handful of minutes later, he does eventually pull out a map, and he walks into the other room with you, the one that you were initially in, rolls out the map, and this thing is old. The lines aren't very well defined. It's actually cut. You can hear it cracking at points. He actually goes over and gets like a bit of an oil, and he's rubbing it on part of the map as he's trying to roll it open so it doesn't completely crack the parchment, and he's trying to find out where it is. He spends several minutes looking over the map. Now, again, the map is written in languages you don't understand, but you can read the different things. And after like maybe a minute or so of looking, I mean, it's hard to read them because, the print is very small, but you do happen to have. So you pull out your magnifying glass and you use it and you're kind of looking throughout the map. And eventually you do actually look over and you see. So he points out, in the top left-hand corner, more or less, there's an area that says Icewind Dale, and like you see the spine of the world, and it says the spine of the world on the mountain range, and then kind of like way like to the south by, there's my cursor. So to the south by many miles, let's say at least 300, closer to 550 miles, and then way to the east by a few thousand miles is where Thesk is where Thesk happens to be. You are as far west as you were as far east before. So you are extremely far from where it was that you had come from. But as you're kind of coming to this realization and, you're kind of like, oh, there it is. And you're like pointing to it. Something else kind of pulls you and you feel like almost like a Ouija board. You feel the magnifying glass pulling itself somewhere else way over back to the west, as opposed to like being in the center of Faerun or whatever. It's all the way along the west coast, halfway down the map. So it's like almost in the center of Faerun. You see it kind of focusing on this one area. It doesn't have any markings there. It doesn't say exactly what it is because the map is so old. This area doesn't have like a claims kingdom. At least that's marked at the moment, but you can see that something, and you're looking at it, the magnifying glass is boring into this one in particular spot, and you like feel a drive to like be there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
this is like directly south from where we are, more or less.
Yes. If you had traveled along the coast south for a long time, you'd be pretty damn close to it.
Okay. Yep. Cool.
And I assume you take that internally. Do you ask questions?
Yeah, no, I don't mention anything, but I kind of just show the mayor like where we were and where I am now.
So you do that. You point to those two different areas, and he's just kind of like, And you got on a boat. He kind of like points to it's called the Sea of Falling Stars. He kind of points to like the sea that you were in before, and you know the name of the Sea of Falling Stars. And he's like, so you were on a boat here, and now you're here when you were, and he's just kind of like baffled. And he's like, I know many magics run powerful in this region, but to be pulled such a distance so quickly, I've never encountered somebody doing that. I'm sorry for your misfortune. I'm sorry that you're so alone in a place so far away. I will give you this advice, kid. This city is a place where the unwanted go to stay hidden. It's where the unwelcome are welcome, so they have an opportunity to make a life for themselves. It's a hard living. We don't there's no mamby-pamby stuff here.
Oh no, I worked out when I saw the trolls, but
You've already encountered trolls.
yes, they're actually on the road on the way here.
And you survived.
Yes.
Did you
I
like,
don't think your trade cart did though.
that's had supplies we needed. Did you fight the trolls or make your way around them?
You know, I didn't feel like it at the time. It was too cold.
That makes sense. So, well, I'm glad that somewhere however you popped out somewhere so far north of here, you were able to make your way to the city and get your hands on such nice warm clothing after you got here. I'm glad that you were able to adapt very well. But again, this region is very unforgiving. If you leave these walls, every step you take is a treacherous one. Every patch of snow, every sheet of ice could have a hidden cave beneath it that you go tumbling down. Every snow mound or seemingly built snowman could actually be a yeti who's kind of bent over and
The foreshadowing.
anywhere you go, it's dangerous here. Luckily, a few of the dragons that have been an issue in the region have been taken care of in the past decade or so, but this is not a safe place. And the dwarves that lived nearby that helped keep it a little bit safer have moved to the south long ago.
Raya's like masking a yawn at this point. Trying not to be rude.
Yeah. He's like, so you're realizing this, he kind of buttons it up and he's like, just watch your step and your tongue. It's not just those that are outside these walls that can be dangerous.
No, most people don't actually understand me here, so that won't be too hard, I don't think. Thank you for your time, though. I understand where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
I should probably get going, right?
Yes, and I don't think I caught your name.
Rye.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Rye. And he extends his hand and gives you like a firm grip, and he says, Cassius.
Likewise, Mr. Mayor.
He just kind of like nods and he leads you out the door and lets you kind of go back off on your way, making your way back over to where Thunk is long done doing his prayers, having his meal. Finally got sick and tired of waiting for you downstairs. Not that you guys necessarily have to convene every morning, but he hasn't seen you since all this shit just happened. So he's like down there, like, what the hell is going on? Blah, blah, blah. He eventually goes up, pounds on your door. You're not up there, goes back down, waits for a little bit, goes back outside. And eventually we'll see you walking back down the street towards where he is. But at this point in time, we are going to take our first break.
Sounds good. All right, we'll be back in a couple minutes, guys. Go grab a drink, do what we got to do, and we'll be right back.